Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
We're all in Wenz world now. It made you feel like you wanted to shoot an AK-47.
That's the beauty of our country.
He wrote these statistical simulations to figure out which casino games would give you the most bang for your buck.
Human cells in the pig embryo will develop into a pig that has a human pancreas.
Stay away from processed foods. You're going to make progress in your fitness goals.
It's actually called Hefeweizen.
Oh! It will be a triple threat match between all three members of the Shield.
Welcome to Wenz World. Here we go! It's always a party with comedian Mike Loftus. Check out his website, theflipsideshow.com and theloftusparty.com. On Twitter at Mike Loftus Comic, man. So good to hear from you. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm very excited. I'm ready for the 4th of July. I'm in a good place. I'm in a patriotic frame of mind.
Yeah.
I'm ready to throw some firecrackers.
Yeah, man. I was going to say, let's not JPP it from the Giants and blow a handoff, but let's have some fun this weekend. I know a lot of the local municipalities are doing them on the night of the 4th, which is kind of shocking to me, that being a Monday, and then not taking advantage of the weekend. And there again, over the weekend, many of us will be with family, and the inevitable political conversation will surface. So, Mike Loftus, in your experience, how do you deal with those?
I've reconciled myself with this. Like, it's all just character assassination right now. Everybody's just trying to take Trump out of it. It's like either Hillary's going to be the president or Trump is going to be the president. And they're trying to make people so terrified of High Emperor Trump, they make it sound like there's no system of checks and balances anymore. Yeah. So if you're at a 4th of July barbecue and somebody goes, I can't vote for Trump, he terrifies me. You go, okay, so let's say Trump does terrify you. Let's say he's got the worst idea ever. I just hope we still have a Senate and a Congress and a Supreme Court that can slow him down. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of our country.
Yeah.
If a president goes completely off the rails, you have two other branches of government that can stop him. And if they all three go off the rails, well, we have the Second Amendment, so we have guns and we can stop them. So, literally, it's all good. It's all good. We're in a good place.
Mike, let me tell you why we love you here in Wenz World. Because you're not left, you're not right, you're just correct. An equal opportunity offender, and that is awesome. We're so thankful to have you back, Mike. Thanks so much for your time today, bud.
Absolutely, my friend.
This is Larry WACHS of the world-famous WACHS Modcast, Atlanta's #1 smartphone radio show on iTunes and Google Play. But that's nothing compared to Wenz World.
Larry WACHS, I'm pretty sure people notice you everywhere you go. I'm sure when you walk into Whole Foods, people look at you and they're like, that's Larry Wax. That's WACHS.
My gal pal says that happens when we're walking into places, but I don't see it. I mean, I'm concentrating on food.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still got to be cool, man.
It's nice. I mean, that's what you start out wanting to have happen.
Right.
And when it does, you should embrace it and understand it. Excuse me, I got gas. And love it. And then say, okay, that's nice. And then move forward.
You need some Tums? I got some pocket Tums.
No, I was swallowing too much air.
Oh, okay.
I haven't eaten yet today.
Oh, okay.
So
I got some protein Cheerios up in the cabinet in the meantime, something to snack on.
Those are oxymoronic. Those are grains that disguise themselves as something healthful. General Mills, it's a processed grain, and they throw in some protein to help the hapless consumer buy it.
I got duped.
Yeah, you got duped.
And that's the thing. I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to lose the man boobs, and it's really difficult. Like, especially the underneath. See, I run every day.
Yeah, don't run.
Really?
Don't run every day.
What do I need to do?
Well, how long do you run?
About a mile and a half, 2 miles. Sprints, walks, and then sprints.
I keep sprints in your repertoire.
Okay.
Do things that make your heart go up and down.
Okay.
And lift heavy twice a week. You got to lift. And that includes push-ups and pull-ups and the basics, too.
Right.
But you're not going to get those man boobs done in the gym. They happen in the kitchen. And that's what I was saying before, like these corporate people, they look at you as a mark. They say, well, we're going to throw some protein, and everybody will think it's healthy now. Still a bunch of processed oats.
Right.
You're eating processed oats, so it doesn't matter how much protein, how many miles you run. You're still going to have those man boobs if you're eating protein-filled Cheerios.
And I still feel my face blowing up every time I eat them. Like my face gets fatter. And I feel like it should be getting thinner right now.
Well, they have all kinds of things to help you retain water. So you got to change your diet. 80% of the time, no grains or sugars.
That's my vice, though, the breads.
It's everybody's.
It's like heroin.
I have bread. I go through bread addiction every once in a while.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you got to clean yourself up and say, sleep through this one. Once in a while, I'll go to Whole Foods and I'll find the non-enriched breads because the iron makes you fat. It's processed. You don't need that much iron. So I get the organic breads with no iron, and I'll go home and I have a bread and butter party. I'll put out almond butter. I'll put out preserves. I'll put out butter, and I'll just make toast all night and just get wasted and eat toast. And it's
awesome
because it comforts you. It's a psychological thing too.
Yeah.
But you got to limit that. I mainly do it during the winter because that's before you lean out.
Yeah, and it's okay in winter to have a pooch.
A little bit, yeah.
It's expected.
Because that's what the weather demands. That's what your body's demanding. So you do it, but you got to, in the spring, start to lean out. Like today I'm going to walk probably 6 miles, but in that 6 miles, I'm going to do 8 400-meter sprints with 5 minutes rest in between.
Whoa.
And that will put you out. And then a couple days a week, I'm going to, I lift heavy. I'll do a lot of push-ups, a lot of pull-ups, some kettlebell snatches. I'm 55, so your mileage may vary, but get in 2 sprint sessions and 2 heavy lifting sessions that are intense per week. And the rest just, take like 5-mile walks when you can.
Are you a sub guy or a hoagie guy?
I love them, but I don't eat them that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat them like once or twice a week. I got to stop.
You got to make it once or twice a month.
Right.
You got to wean yourself off. Don't go cold turkey because you'll be frustrated.
Yeah.
And those cravings will eat you up.
So how do you deal with, after your wasted session, how do you deal with the munchie and not wanting to eat the Pop-Tarts and the fried chicken? How do you stay away from that and eat carrots and celery instead?
I don't. The best way to put it is you got to have some junk food in your life.
Yeah.
But when you're going to go junky, go healthy junky. Like, don't get processed foods. That's where everything starts. No matter what you do, whether it's winter, whether it's spring, whether you're high, whether you're drunk, whether you're inconvenienced, just stay away from if you do nothing else and stay away from processed foods, you're going to make progress in your fitness goals. It's I take a lot of supplements, and I just take care of myself. Get plenty of sleep. It's a 3-legged stool. You got to sleep more than you exercise. Exercise is the least important leg of the stool. It's exercise, sleep, and nutrition. And the 2 most important are sleep and nutrition, probably neck and neck.
Right.
And exercise, it's overrated. You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to do. Every once in a while to get ready, I'll do like a Navy SEAL, more intense level just for a few short days so I don't burn myself out. So then, all right, finish off the leaning period. Like I'm going to be out there in the heat running and walking in intense heat and doing sprints because that's going to lean me out and get me ready. And then I can coast until winter where I just shut it down and put on my sweats and start eating a lot of cookies. But you got to manage. It's day to day. You got to listen to your body. After you try everything, you know what works for your body, and just listen. Like, what signals is it sending? Is that a craving or is it real hunger? Are you tired or are you just stressed or what's going on? And as the seasons change, you got to adjust your diet and your exercise and your body to that. You got to listen to it. It's winter. There's no reason that you're in the gym 6 days a week.
Right.
There's no reason that you're avoiding a nice casserole or soup. All right?
Yeah.
Eat some hearty meals. It's good for you. It's fine. Just make sure it's not processed and make sure it's not garbage. Like, one of my favorite things is going to Whole Foods to get their cherry pie I love. I'll just eat half of that, just in one, and then I'll throw the rest away. Get out. It's like a discarded hooker. I came. Get out. Leave my bedroom. I had an orgasm. See, and that's what I do with the Whole Foods pie. I eat it, and I say, all right, the rest of you, get the out of here.
Napkins on the nightstand. See you later.
Yeah, pie. Get out of here. Dispose of yourself. But that's okay because it's made with unprocessed flours and junk.
Break. Friends, grab another beer and hit the head, because after this short break, we are back in Wenz World with Dr. A.J. Roberts. We are discussing chimeras, that being animal-human hybrids. Once upon a time, we thought this stuff was only possible in Greek mythology, sci-fi novels, and movies. But now it has become a modern-day reality in scientific experimentation. Is it possible that we're crossing boundaries that we shouldn't be? This and many more questions answered as we continue with Weird Science. Stick with us.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
From my heart and from my hands, why don't people understand my intentions?
I'm in Wenz World, and I love it.
Weird. Yep, weird science time. So I love the idea in science fiction novels of commingling different species, right? And obviously we see that in mythology, but it seems as if nowadays scientists are kind of working on a hybrid creature, mixing different animals with human embryos. And with me on the phone right now is Dr. A.J. Roberts from reasonstobelieve.org. Welcome to the show. How are you, Dr. Roberts?
Thanks very much, Joey. I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here today.
Well, thanks for coming on. So is this something that is pulled out of a science fiction movie? Maybe the media is kind of not making enough of this, because it seems to me that this kind of thing generally doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I mean, it's definitely a challenge. Each one of us has our own unique physiologies, but, scientists are about discovering what can be discovered and doing what hasn't been done before, so it's part of the scientific endeavor, I think. It's actually not anything radically new in the sense that there have been humanized mice that scientists have been using in the laboratory for several years now to sort of recapitulate elements of the human immune system to study disease. But these types of experiments, I think, that are raising the questions about chimeras have been going on since about 2014.
So let's pause right there. And for the sake of full disclosure, what exactly is a chimera?
Excellent question. So, like you said, it's typically referred to in Greek mythology as a blending of different animals. But today, what scientists are doing is they're using a couple of really amazing advances in scientific processes. One of them is called induced pluripotent stem cells. That's a mouthful, but it basically means that they can take a cell from human skin or some other type of the body, and by adding a few factors to that cell, they can actually reprogram it back into a stem cell, a cell that has the possibility and potential to become any of the 200 different types of cells in the human body. And so they take these induced pluripotent stem cells and they put them into a pig embryo or a sheep embryo, an animal embryo, that they've used another scientific advancement called CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing. It's a way to basically go into the genome of an animal, the DNA that makes an animal's proteins and the processes inside the animal's different cells, and actually edit the DNA. And so they can knock out a gene. In this case, they've done it in a pig for the pancreas. And so the pig won't develop its own pancreas, but they supply these human cells that have the potential to become any type of human tissue. And what they're hoping happens is that the human cells in the pig embryo will develop into a pig that has a human pancreas. And that pancreas could be used for organ donating, for instance.
Right. So on the surface, this sounds good, right? Like, okay, we're going to be benefiting our children and their children, possibly with body organs that are immune to certain diseases, bacteria, viruses, and such. But what are the potential downfalls of this kind of experimentation?
Yeah, there are a few for sure. One of the biggest problems is the uncertainty of what those human cells will actually end up doing in the pig embryo. So where will they go? Will they produce a pancreas like we hope, or will they actually end up in different organs and in different tissues, which is fairly likely because those human cells, again, they have the potential to develop into any kind of body cell type. So could you end up with some of the human cells in the pig brain or in the pig heart, or even more bizarre, could you end up with human cells in the pig's gonads? Like, could you end up with male pigs that have human sperm and female pigs that have human eggs? Well, scientifically speaking, yeah, that's possible, and we don't really know where those human cells are going to go and what they're going to develop into in the pig. That's the scariest part.
Again, if you're just joining us, we are with Dr. A.J. Roberts of Reasons to Believe. You can find the website reasons.org. Dr. Roberts, could you understand why this process might weird some people out big time?
I think that these types of experiments and these types of questions, they're definitely pushing the envelope and some people's buttons. And I think we need to approach things like this in a way that's illuminated by our understanding of what it means to be human.
Right.
And, as a Christian, I definitely believe that we're in the image of God, created in the image of God, and that we are spiritual beings, not just physical beings. So I don't think that you're going to end up having a pig or a chimera animal that's going to have true aspects of humanity or human self-awareness in it, even if you do these types of experiments. But that still doesn't address the question as to whether or not we should be doing these types of experiments at all. But I think cases can be made that we can, and we ought to be able to be doing these sorts of things, but they ought to be done with regulation and oversight, and certainly with public dialogue like you're initiating through this type of interview.
Again, if you're just joining us, we are with Dr. A.J. Roberts of Reasons to Believe, reasons.org, and of course on Twitter at RTB_official. And we are talking about real-life scientific experimentation involving human and animal hybrids. At what point do these experiments kind of walk into the realm of quote-unquote playing God?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think as scientists, and certainly as a Christian scientist, I think one of the things that we're endowed with is the ability and the curiosity and the drive to discover and to create. And by create, I don't mean necessarily create something out of nothing, the way that God did when he created the universe, but to take things that we discover and we learn about and to create new things. And so I actually feel like it's part of our mandate to help alleviate human suffering and to mitigate human suffering and disease. And I think as scientists, a lot of the experiments that we do, we have that as sort of an end goal. I think many of these types of researchers who are doing these types of things are actually, very, very moral or very noble in their end goal. But like all technology, technology can be used for good or it can be used for evil. And it really does come down to, who are we individually and what is our own sort of moral stance. And I think that's one reason why we as Christians need to be talking about these things and to be salt and light to the people around us and saying, look, the technology might be morally neutral, but those of us who have a moral foundation, we need to be discussing what types of regulations and what types of oversight need to be put into place to help guide the use of the technology and prevent other types of use of the technology.
Wow, so well stated. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Roberts. Again, follow this conversation and get on their website. It is phenomenal. So many resources, podcasts. They even have a store where you can purchase DVDs, books, even devotionals as well. Reasons.org. And of course, keep the conversation going on Twitter at RTB_official. Dr. Roberts, this has been an absolute pleasure and very enlightening. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Joey, and I would just encourage everybody out there, if they're not already, to become an organ donor, because if more of us were organ donors, that might not even necessitate this type of research.
Oh, that is such a great point. You know what? I signed up for that, actually. It's on my license, because really, what good is the flesh after the soul's gone?
Exactly. God bless you, Joey.
God bless you. Thank you.
Break.
The Out of Control Atlanta Traffic Watch.
Back again with the one, the only, the voice of Atlanta traffic, Mr. Chris Monroe.
Good to be back, brother. How are you?
Fantastic. Good sir, recently you were in the land of Tetris and vodka. What was traffic like in Moscow?
Don't forget the AK-47, though. Oh. About that, too. I got to shoot one, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, man. It made you feel like you wanted to shoot an AK-47. Moscow, they say, has the worst traffic in the world, and I believe it.
Whoa.
They like their horns over there a lot. They do not, any of this, how in the South we kind of wave each other in traffic. That don't happen over there in Moscow.
Bless their heart.
Bless their heart. They don't do that. But it's still out of control here in Atlanta. It's still out of control.
I've noticed this whole week, despite school being out, I can't even tell the difference.
Yeah.
What are we to anticipate this weekend construction-wise?
All right, well, thankfully, the DOT has suspended all construction through the 4th holiday, so they will not do any non-emergency construction until Tuesday. So we get that off at least. And we probably will get about 2 weeks of the first part of July where it's actually a little bit nicer than normal, and then it'll be back to the out-of-control traffic watch.
Wait a minute. I get the sense that it might be time for One Time at Band Camp.
Oh, I like that segment.
Nerd alert!
Cool. We're going to have such a good time. It'll be like this one time at band camp.
I pulled up, and I remember I was in my dad's Cutlass Supreme. I pulled right up, got out of the car. I was kind of nervous, and I was just a freshman. It was rookie camp, and I was playing sousaphone. And you know what a sousaphone is, right? It's the big horn that you wear around you. It's the tuba. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a tuba you kind of wear around. So it's obviously a large instrument, and I'm just a little, still not a big guy, but I was even smaller then. So I was running back to our sets, and that's one thing that they tell you to do. And so I looked over, and there's my section leader. She's a girl, by the way, playing sousaphone. And, of course, I had a little thing for her.
Yeah, buddy.
I ran smack dab into her, Joey. Smack dab into her. And we both fell backwards. I saw stars, and I still never got her phone number. And that's one time at band camp.
He's the boogie woogie bugle by a company B.
Have you ever wondered why we talk ourselves into buying lottery tickets when we know there's practically no chance of us winning? After this break, we are back with author Kate Sukel. She wrote the book, The Art of Risk. We're going to talk about how our brains work as it pertains to gambling and playing the lottery. Don't go anywhere.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
He may be from Philly, but he is a Southern gentleman. He is the Wenz.
It's fantastic to have Miss Kate Sukel, author of the book, The Art of Risk. How are you, Kate?
I am very well, thanks. How are you?
We are doing phenomenal here in Wenz World. You can follow Kate on Twitter at Kate Sukel, KaytSukel. Your book is phenomenal. You know, in the early going, you talk about risk in terms of the lottery. Now, the current Powerball projected winnings is just over 200 million, 222, you know, just a couple bucks here and there, Kate.
Well, you know, it's been up over 500 million, so this does kind of seem paltry now, right? You're going for 585 million. Why even bother with the ticket at 200?
Yeah, it's like, but what can you pay for with that, you know?
That doesn't even cover the insurance on your new yacht. But yeah, you know, and the lottery, I think, is really interesting because it's such a great example of how not just negative emotions, but positive emotions can sway decision making. So you can go onto the Powerball website and it will tell you that the odds of winning are something like 1 in 175 million.
So what's more likely to happen to us than winning the lottery?
It's like you're more likely to be bitten by a shark. I think you're more likely to be hit by lightning. It's ridiculous. You know, all these things we think that could never occur are actually, you know, like 10 times more likely than winning.
So like getting bit by a shark in Idaho and getting struck by lightning with like blue skies above, right? Something like that.
Exactly. But, you know, we're really bad. Our brains are really bad at really calculating statistics. This isn't, you know, and this is because of the emotion that comes in. Because let's just say, you know, there's a big jackpot coming up. You start to get that fever. Everybody starts talking about how amazing it will be to, you know, win that money. What would you do?
Right.
Of course, you'd go into work the next day and tell your boss to shove it. And, or, you know, start your own business doing something the way that you know that they should be done. Maybe you can help out your parents, your kids with a big financial problem. Maybe you know, just want to buy yourself a Ferrari and, start, you know, driving across Route 226. But, I mean, you start thinking about it, you start imagining it, and, you know, you get happy. It's like, think of all the wonderful things I could do with this money. Think of how many problems it would solve with really no work on my part. And all of a sudden, that 1 in 175 million odds, it becomes some odds of winning.
So in the Wenz's brain right now, I'm thinking, okay, I have $2. I can buy 2 tickets, or I can throw that $2 in my savings account to benefit my family eventually. So what is it in my brain and our brains as people that makes us ignore the facts that we're more likely to get bit by Sharknado than winning the jackpot? Why do we throw money down the drain? Can you go into what's going on in our brains at that moment?
So we have a circuit in our brain that calculates out risk. Part of that calculation, it takes in information about emotion. And so when you have very strong emotions, I mean, basically the easiest way to talk about it is it throws that calculation out of whack. all of a sudden you're so focused on, that Ferrari and telling your boss what he can stick where, you're not thinking about, something like, that $2 in your savings account, because that's not exciting.
Right.
Even with compound interest over 50 years, you're still not going to get quite to that amount of money. And also, you have to wait for it, right? It's not immediate. And it just totally skews your risk calculation. And again, all of a sudden, even when you intellectually know that the lottery is stacked against you, there's 1 in 175 million odds, and the Wall Street Journal actually just said that now, because so many more people are playing with these high jackpots, it's actually 1 in 292 million odds. You're not thinking that anymore. You're thinking there's some chance of me winning. Some seems doable. Some seems realistic. But I think, the important thing is just those good feelings. And there's imaginary good feelings, right? Like they have the power to really sway decision making. You know better, and yet you're still going to play. And the thing is these strong feelings, they can impact all kinds of risk calculations, not just to the lottery. That's just a really easy example. But you have good feelings. Oh, you've fallen in love. You make stupid, you go into work late. You make stupid mistakes. You're not on your A game. If you fear, or you're angry. And this has been a huge thing in the election this year, and a huge thing that just happened in the Brexit vote in England. You're not focusing on the right variables because you barrel ahead with these strong negative feelings.
Again, if you're just joining us, we are with author Kate Sukell. She wrote a book. It's called The Art of Risk. It's a National Geographic book, and you're actually doing a really cool thing. It's called #Summer of Risk. Can you go into a little bit about what that campaign's all about?
Sure. So what was really awesome is after the book came out, people started emailing me or coming up to me at events and being like, your book inspired me to take a smart risk. And these aren't risks like jumping out of planes or, starting a drag racing class. These were risks like finally signing up for a master's degree program, finally booking a trip that somebody's always wanted to take. One woman actually said that she's going to start knitting with the expensive yarn. And it goes to show that really when it comes to risk, little changes can have big benefits. And I love that. So what we're trying to ask people to do is show us the smart season risk that you're taking this summer. Just throw up a selfie on social media, tag your location, and add #Summer of Risk. You could also, send it to me on Twitter at Kate Sukell, KaytSukel, or at NatGeoBooks. And, show us the smart season risk. Inspire others to start making those little changes that make such big differences.
And of course, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and 5 lucky participants are going to win a summer Risk prize pack from National Geographic. But there have been some great photos so far. There was a guy who was taking a helicopter ride over Hawaii, another person who's taking Portuguese lessons. And actually, I'm still waiting for your selfie.
I was just thinking about that. I knew you'd call me out about that. We actually had our baby's gender reveal party this past weekend. And so I thought it was kind of cool. There's no real risk involved there because it's either one or the other. But I'm trying to think of something cool to do this summer to kind of incorporate that hashtag into my summertime. One of the risks that I could say was, giving my credit card information to a company over the internet. So I don't know. Maybe I'll hashtag that next time.
Feel free. Or, is it a boy or a girl?
It's going to be a little boy.
Oh, well, just think of all the stuff that you can do with a little boy. I mean, you could build a little play plan. You could, you could do all kinds of risks. Biggest risk with a little boy is changing a diaper without getting fire hosed in the face.
Yeah,
so you better learn that now.
I'll be wearing goggles for that, I'm pretty sure there. So, but getting back to the part of your book dealing with the lottery in our brains, I love the conversation you had with one of your colleagues. He is an expert in this field. Though when he goes to the casino, he's well aware that the house always wins because they do, and that's why their buildings stay sustained and up and the power stays on. But he loves playing craps, which is one of the lower odds amongst the tables in a casino. He knows the odds are better off at the blackjack table, but he kind of goes into the whole emotional aspect of this transaction. Can you kind of cite that and give your opinion on that?
So this is Gail King, and he would tell you that he's probably the most risk-averse man alive. But he does like to go to the casino. And back in the day when computers were new, so, like 30 years ago, he had one of the first desktop computers. He wrote these statistical simulations to figure out which casino games would give you the most bang for your buck. You know that the house is going to lose. But according to his calculations, blackjack is your best bet. You're more likely to keep your money longer over time, more likely to win. But, of course, even knowing that, when he goes to the casino, he loves to play craps. And he's like, I love the camaraderie of it. I love all those people cheering. I love that I can help other people win by throwing the dice. He also joked about, liking to get, beautiful women to blow on the dice for him. But he emphasized that was his wife or his daughter most of the time, and he just loves the feeling that it brings. And so he finds himself gravitating to the craps table, even though he knows that he's probably going to lose and lose faster. And I think that really just goes to show how those good feelings, how these emotions really can sway you. And it also goes to show why we're not rational. We're really kind of emotional beings, and it switches things up. So the reward for him and that camaraderie and those good feelings is more than actually going home with a few extra dollars in his pocket. Probably is for many of us as well.
So I guess at the end of the day, to sum it up, we could do all the math problems we want, but our emotions drive most of the data at the end of the day, right? Is that fair to say?
I would just say that emotions have a significant impact. Certainly one of the successful risk takers that I interviewed for the book, one of the things they're really good at is actually, regulating their emotions. They're able to take a step back and say, okay, wait, I'm mad or I'm scared or I'm whatever. Let me look at this and figure out why. Is this something that I really need to worry about, or is this something I can disengage from and work towards, my end goal? And I think that's really sort of a fascinating thing, this ability to regulate your own emotions, this ability to, not let them take over really seems to be a key difference between the successful risk taker and, the more impulsive fly by the seat of your pants, ultimately incarcerated risk taker.
That is so cool. Way to sum it up. Again, if you're just joining us, we've been with author Kate Sukel. She wrote the book, The Art of Risk. It's a Nat Geo book, and you can participate once you buy the book wherever books are sold. The Summer of Risk hashtag campaign. Take a selfie, tag Kate Sukel at Kate Sukel on Twitter, KAYTSUKEL, with the hashtag Summer of Risk. You doing something cool, maybe something like Kate said, going back to school, doing something that you didn't think you could do maybe a year or 6 months ago. And Kate, I can't wait to have you back next week, and we'll dive more into your book. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Friends, right after this break, we have beer, cats, and wrestling. I don't know if it can get any better.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
I'm in Wenz World and I love it. We're getting boozy with the beer guy Aaron and the Wenz right here in Wenz World.
Back and getting boozy with the beer guy, Aaron Williams at Beer Guy Aaron on Twitter. Of course, one half of Beer Guys Radio, which can be heard every single Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on AM 920 The Answer, and always on demand, beerguysradio.com. Welcome back, Aaron.
All right. It's always great to be here, Joey.
Yeah. So we are talking what sounds like a German cuss word, but isn't.
Yeah.
Hefeweizen.
You're completely off balance with that. It's actually called Hefeweizen.
Oh.
I had to look that up too, so don't feel so bad. That's okay. So yeah, actually, it's a German style, as you could probably guess. A very old German style, actually, and it's actually the word means yeast wheat. So as you can probably tell, it's made out of wheat as opposed to barley or other type of things. So it actually at least 50% wheat. That's what the rule is for a Hefeweizen. And basically, it's cloudy, hazy, golden in color. You know, it's a really great summertime beer because it's light, refreshing, and usually a low alcohol by volume, which is probably about 5% or less. It's right around that area. So you can really crush these if you and just not feel it as well as you would like a normal IPA that's closer to 6 to 8%. So a good 5% beer, which is a great way to spend a summer afternoon out in the pool, out on the beach, all that kind of stuff. Really, the great way about it, it's got a nice aroma. It's got a little bit of banana, citrus, and cloves on the note. And that's the wheat and the yeast that they use for the Hefeweizen. Like I said, it's a nice, refreshing flavor as well. A lot of people will put some citrus on the top of it, like a slice of lemon or a slice of orange as well, to kind of tap that off.
So would a Hoegaarden be a good example of a Hefeweizen?
Yes, a Hoegaarden is a really good. I think it's Hoegaarden. I cannot pronounce that either. But that's a good example of one. Also, locally, Sweetwater did a Waterkeeper Hefeweizen last year. I don't know if they still come out with it now, but you may want to look for that. Also, Cherry Street, which is up in Alpharetta, that area, they've got a Monkey Hammer that's called that's in Hefeweizen as well, and they call it Monkey, of course, a lot of banana characteristics on that. Eagle Creek Grassroots also is one down there in Statesboro that carries it. So, Hefeweizen, it comes and goes. Usually you'll find it around the summertime, and again, it's a nice, refreshing style. A lot of folks will think that Blue Moon, which is a brand, of course, owned by Miller Coors, is a Hefeweizen, but it actually isn't. It's a wit beer.
I got duped.
You did, yes. It's a wit beer, which is a Belgian style, but a very, very similar but different. But again, if you think of a Blue Moon, you think of what a Hefeweizen is. Again, it's technically a wit beer, but it's pretty close to it.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for your time today, Aaron.
Anytime, sir.
And you can hear him and his partner, Tim Dennis, every single Saturday, as said before, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on AM 920 The Answer, and always on demand 365.25, beerguysradio.com. Cheers.
Break. All right, here's the deal, humans. I have stepped in my own feces for long enough. Nobody's leaving this house until I get fresh litter.
That may be how all this started. A 911 call from Greenfield, Wisconsin by a couple claiming their cat was holding them hostage.
This is going to sound like a strange question, but we have a cat and it's going crazy and it's attacked my husband, and we're kind of hostage in our house, and we're just wondering who we can call to do something, get rid of the cat or help us.
Thankfully, the authorities came and took the cat away before any more injuries were sustained by the couple. But for a moment, imagine this had escalated into a situation where the SWAT team had to be called. This is Sergeant Tabby with the Greenfield SWAT team. What exactly are your demands?
Here's the deal, coppers. I have 3 conditions for the release of these 2 humans. 1, I want a kilo of catnip delivered within the hour. Leave it on the doorstep and get the heck out of here. Condition 2, a diamond collar. And don't give me none of that cubic zirconia crap. I want the real deal. 3, a brand new scratching post. Hypoallergenic, please. I'm very sensitive.
There have been times where I have wondered, not if, but when my cats are going to eat me. You may be thinking to yourself, Wenz, that is absurd. They're felines. You're human. You outweigh them by a good 200 pounds. But I have to sleep. Oh, and they know that. Still think I'm crazy? Well, I'll wake up in the morning and my cat is sitting on my chest staring at me. Probably wondering, is he going to wake up? Is he going to wake up? I mean, dry food's good, but his face looks delicious. I do believe the feline is smarter than the canine. Also appearing quite malevolent. I mean, look at a gargoyle. They look so much alike. Cats are like people that don't talk, which is kind of dangerous. The quiet ones are always the ones more likely to snap. And there's no competition. Cats have 9 lives. We have 1. Do the math, people. The odds are against us.
I love me some wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
This is your male
Soap Opera Moment.
Este es el momento con la telenovela masculina con el productor Joey y Shamsu.
Back again with the male soap opera moment with the one, the only, at Shamso84 on Twitter.
Yeah.
At Marquis A. Davis 1 is out. His lady just had their 5th baby, so he's at home taking care of business.
Bonus baby.
That's right. Bonus baby alert. Speaking of bonuses, Shamso, I have to give you credit because prior to Money in the Bank, you made a very interesting prediction, which has actually come to fruition. And that prediction was...
It will be a triple threat match between all 3 members of the Shield.
Oh, my gosh. And you are so right. Coming up at Battleground, the next WWE pay-per-view, it will be the champion, Sloppy Dean Ambrose.
Woo!
Going against the suspended Roman Reigns, going against the man, Seth Rollins.
That's too much.
No, he
is
the man.
No, I have to Sloppy Dean. I was team Sloppy Dean from day one. I support you, Dean Ambrose.
Of course, Dean's listening. Everybody listens to Wenz World. And, of course, the male soap opera moment here with Rags to Riches Raggy at Shamso84 on Twitter. And, of course, you can follow the show at WENZ World Radio on Twitter. Shamso, we have that match, that triple threat. Let's go ahead and get your prediction for that. Do you think Dean Ambrose retains till at least SummerSlam or beyond?
Let's just go back because Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins both have rematches. So it's kind of weird that they're making them, all 3 of them, fight against each other for the title when each one of them have a rematch clause.
Well, you have to wonder if Reigns' rematch clause will be taken from him because of the nature of his suspension. Again, for those of you who aren't aware, Roman Reigns suspended for 30 days as of, last month, about, 2 weeks ago? So he'll be ready to go at Battleground. That'll officially be like a day or two after his suspension ends.
Well, at Marquis Davis 1 said that it's not real and he thinks it's part of the script.
I think Marquis is onto something. We had an interesting conversation last week about his heritage, not Marquis' heritage, but the heritage of Roman Reigns, that being Samoan. And Marquis brought up how The Rock had breast surgery. And the reason that conversation came up was because I was talking to a buddy a few weeks back about Roman Reigns and why he always wears that stupid vest. And he brought up the point that it could be because his chest looks weak. And if you look at a lot of the Samoan wrestlers, they do have somewhat flabby chests. And Marquis brought up that The Rock actually had breast surgery to give him that more muscular look. So therefore, maybe that's the reason Roman Reigns is still rocking the vest. What do you think, Shamso?
Well, if he comes back and he's not wearing the vest or the shirt, then I will believe you. Until the time comes, then I'm just going to go with he's suspended for using illegal drugs.
Right. Well, there again, the creative team at WWE can take this any way they want, and I love the way they handled it Monday night. It was addressed immediately by Seth Rollins. They didn't try and cover it up. They brought it to the forefront of the squared circle, and this is a great opportunity for the creative team to bring Roman Reigns back as the heel that he needs to be effective, because the current champion, unfortunately, is a face. He's a baby face. That in Dean Ambrose.
I think Dean Ambrose has served, his time, and they've all been there the same amount of time. And I think they need a lunatic like Dean Ambrose to be the champion because he gives a crap about no one. And I still believe Randy Orton will come back at some point.
I feel you on Orton, but I don't know that Dean Ambrose can cash in that night. It's not like he still has the briefcase. He cashed that in later on at Money in the Bank. So perhaps Monday Night Raw, or even better, at SummerSlam coming up in August.
I didn't think that there was a pay-per-view this soon. So
yeah, me either. I was kind of shocked.
They're throwing in so many pay-per-views. I think they're trying to keep up with the WWE network that you can get only for $9.99.
And that's all the time we have for this episode of the Male Soap Opera Moment, featuring at Shamso84. Follow her on Twitter. She's a blast. And of course, you can follow me at producer_Joey, and follow the show. Thank you very much for the bell. And follow the show at Wenz World Radio. Thank you very much for listening.
Wenz World.
Hello, K98 Talk family. I am so thankful to be here to spend this time with you After this short break, we have an exclusive interview only for the K98 Talk audience. Just how bad is Rio going to fare in the 2016 Summer Games? Well, after this short break, we have an expert to speak on that very subject. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
I'm in Wenz World and I love it.
We all know how the media machine can exaggerate news stories and make us fearful and hysterical over practically nothing. With the Summer Olympics just right around the corner, live in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the country itself is facing a lot of challenges, including the looming threat of the Zika virus, amongst other things. In fact, some of these concerns have led certain members of the U.S. Olympic team to not make the trip to Brazil, including members of the men's basketball team. Joining us to sort through all of this is Mike Korolchik, CEO of Spartacus Strategies. He's a leading libertarian activist, a health guru, sports analyst, and a contributor to Daily Surge and Clash Daily. Mike, how are you?
Well, Joey, I'm doing well, but, listen, I'm the first one to say it seems every Olympics there's a threat. Maybe some athletes won't go or the country's not ready. Let's be clear here. Brazil is an unmitigated disaster. Just a week ago, the vice president of the Olympics himself said this is the worst he's ever seen. And they had talked to London officials to see if they could be ready as of a few weeks from now, a week before the start, to take over.
Wow.
This isn't some little small thing. There are so many things it crosses from the traditional corruption in countries, but more importantly, too, there's not a way they can get around the healthcare scare, the security scares, and more, and the operational disaster. So when you put that all together, it's a mess. And I put some amazing tidbits together for your show, which I know your listeners are going to really appreciate because they love to hear the gory details. And start off with what, Joey? Right now, 75% of the sewage from Brazil gets thrown right into their bay, the waterway, and it's not treated. That bay is where all the water sports, including swimming, is going to be held at. So they were supposed to, when they had this $5 to $10 billion, Brazil was supposed to take care and treat the waterway for all the citizens and give them clean water. It's not being done. Instead, because they're so low on cash, the way they can figure it out how to clean this water. And when I say dirty water, it's 1.3 million times more toxic than water we consider hazardous. So imagine the Jersey Shore in the 1980s times 1 million. And that's how dirty this water is. And there's animal carcasses, all their nasty plastic stuff floating in. So their answer is to hire some guys in eco boats to get the dead animals out, and that's going to be the water for boating and yachting and what have you. That's going to be in the Olympics. That's the first thing, Joey. That's pretty nice. The second thing that really is going to get people fired up, if you've been to Brazil, and I used to go to Brazil twice a year because I'd go to the Miss Bum Bum competition, which, folks, there's not more beautiful women alive. They have the best butts in the world. They have a competition, 500 girls. They wean it down to the top 100. And Joey, number 499 would be number one in America. I'm talking girls with butts out of this world.
Thus the 2 a.m. Brazilian butt lift infomercial, right?
Yes, exactly. And there's a reason why that's why we want the Brazilian butts. But here's the thing: you've now got you can't go there because they were supposed to build this subway that would get 300,000 people to the Olympic venues. But the subway's not going to be completed, so that means you're going to have to take one of those old Brazilian buses with no air conditioning around the most rocky roads. And if you watch Dangerous Roads in America, they're always filled with Brazilian roads that crash. The buses go over the hills. And about once a week, 50 people croak. That's how you're going to get to the Olympics. It's going to be a 3 to 4 hour ride. And now we get to the real deal. Joey, you brought up to me a lot of the athletes aren't going to go, especially basketball players. Joey, what do basketball players really love most in the world besides money?
Oh, well, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. What do you think they love most in the world next to money?
Beautiful women. That's why I go to Brazil. Okay? You can't have sex with these beautiful women because Zika virus is transmitted sexually, as is dung fever. So you got 1.7 million Brazilian ladies with dung fever and 1.5 million with Zika virus. It's ground zero for these diseases. So you're going to go there where you're going to be swimming in raw sewage. You've got women that might have Zika, and how do you check to see if you got Zika? The tests are so primitive. So you can't even have fun. And get this, folks, the athletes, another way they're to cut costs down because Brazil's out of money, is they're going to make the athletes pay for air conditioning and no one's getting TVs in their room.
Let me play devil's advocate for just a second because I did a little bit of research. I've never been to Brazil, so you got me on that. You've gone twice a year for God knows how many years. That's awesome, first of all. And I would love to see the competition you speak of eventually. Hope my wife's not listening. But with all that said, it's going to be about 50 degrees. We're going to be in winter time for Brazil. And much of the Zika contraction is happening in middle Brazil, far north of where the Olympic Games are going to be taking place. And there again, we had the World Cup back there in 2014, and only 3 of the 1 million tourists who visited Brazil for the tournament contracted dengue fever. So how do you respond to that where, hey, let's not get hysterical. Most people that get Zika virus don't show any symptoms. The people that it affects the most are people who are sexually active, as you mentioned, and the babies that are potentially inside of these ladies.
Well, here's what I would say to that. If you listen to the top experts, and this is not Michael speaking or Joey speaking, this is World Health Organization, they should not be having the Olympics here because you can't control the tourists coming in and out of countries. So you have tourists from all around the world coming down, and you're right about the diseases being 100 miles further north, but those northerners are going to come for the Olympics.
Right.
And you can't control the first thing you do with a disease like Zika, or the fever, is what? Isolation and what? Containment. The Olympics is bringing them all in.
Yeah.
And it gets even worse. Besides the Zika and controlling the diseases and the raw sewage, there's actually an enzyme, a disease called the KPC superbug, which is bacteria resistance that's in that water, and they've been finding hundreds of cases of it. So your athletes are going to get that on top of everything else.
All right, Michael, let's take a turn here, and let's just say that Zika isn't even on the forefront of anybody's mind heading down there. It's a non-issue. What are some things that the media isn't covering that we might need to know about based upon your experience in Brazil?
Let's talk about something that really hits home, terrorism. Now, as of today, Joey, right now, I checked at 9 o'clock this morning, Brazil has yet to buy a metal detector or a scanner. They don't have any money. Folks, if you think that's crazy, listen to this. Let alone not having money for scanners and metal detectors, they can't pay their police. So right now, the police are 3 to 4 months behind in paychecks. Many are quitting. Most of their government workers are 3 to 4 months behind, and the retirees haven't been paid because all that money went to the Olympics. Now, it's so bad that police stations are asking the local communities to donate paper, pens, and toilet paper.
Wow.
And that's who's going to be protecting your athletes.
And you're not going to hear this stuff on the mainstream media circuit. Again, if you're just joining us, we are with CEO of Spartacus Strategies, Michael Korolchik, a libertarian activist, a health guru. I saw that on your picture, dude. You're freaking ripped. You're like WWE ripped out there.
We try to keep in shape, but most importantly, I keep in shape by making my women into beautiful goddesses. And Joe, if you go to my Spartacus Strategies IG, you'll see the most beautiful women I've created and made into the healthy, sexy goddesses that would call their own in Brazil. But they don't have Zika. They don't have dung fever. And I don't make them swim in sewage with KPC and superbugs trying to attack them. So it's a much better thing if you want to have fun to go visit one of my gyms instead of Brazil this year. But, this is why it's not just a one-stop shop with the problems of Brazil. You got the subway transportation. You've got the diseases. You've got the sewage issue. And then on top of that, we haven't even gotten to the real scary thing of terrorism, which we just touched, the political unrest. All these things I've just described, the people are angry. The people are nasty. I challenge you, Joey, to go watch City of God. It's an amazing documentary movie on Brazil with the slum homes that are only a mile away from the beautiful resorts. They moved those people out of those slum homes so they could expand for the Olympics. They disrupted it, but what the president said at the time, who's since been impeached, said, we're going to build more hospitals, we're going to build more schools, and we're going to give 20% of the tickets away to the poor. Well, then came the gas prices tumbling. Hospitals are closing. Schools are closing, and they move these poor people out of their homes. They are angry. There's no money to feed them, take their kids to a hospital or a school, yet they're spending $10 billion on an Olympic stadium. You put that all together, you've got major political unrest when the cops aren't even going to support you because they haven't been paid either.
Again, we've been with Mike Korolchik. He is CEO of Spartacus Strategies, a libertarian activist, a health guru, a sports analyst, and contributor to Daily Surge and ClashDaily.com. And, of course, if people want to reach out or keep the conversation rolling, at No Chubbies on Twitter.
Thanks, Joey. No Chubbies.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, take care.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.